is the best example for others. Babe, are you serious?
No, listen. Finish, babe. Go ahead.
I lost my train of thought. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. It's kind of been on my heart to just discuss this a little bit, and especially since we are in such a weird time in our life, like so many unknowns, and I just feel like we should share kind of the truth when it comes to marriage and Christianity.
Just dealing with the negativity in life at this moment, in 2019, and the positives of life, and just, what's happening, the dichotomy of a Christian marriage in, this digital age, and how do you go about navigating through all the different obstacles that you have to face. It's hard to differentiate the difference between a Christian marriage or a regular marriage now, because we're facing all of the same struggles, and it's so hard for Christians to kind of just really separate themselves from the world. It's just becoming harder and harder.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we want to talk about today. I'm just giving a little insight from the male perspective, I guess.
So currently, well, we've been married 2.5 years. April 1st is 2.5 years. Just crazy. It's not long for some of you, I'm sure. I mean, relationships, we can't speak for long-term marriages or anything, but we have known each other for 18 years, been in each other's life, most of it, and dated for a while, been through so much. If you've been following, kind of.
And, some of our expectations getting married was that everything was just going to be peaches and cream.
Yeah.
We were going to be in this utopian relationship world, that everything was just going to work out, and that's just not the way it is. And that's why Christian marriages result in divorce just as much or more than secular marriages.
Yeah.
And you have to be mindful of what your expectations are if you're not putting in the proper work. And what is the proper work, right? What are the different stages in a relationship, in your marriage, that you go through? And we, again, have been figuring this out as we continue to grow. And we've been together for a long time, but there's all these different things that we go through as humans. We're humans, first and foremost. And so I always like to say, especially when I'm speaking, that humans, we all need certain things. We all need attention. We all need acceptance and affirmation. You ultimately will also try to get all three of those things from your wife or from your husband. And so if you're not getting those three things from your wife or your husband, you start trying to figure out how to fill those voids in other ways. And we'll talk about why that's dangerous if you don't have a Christ-centered relationship.
Yeah. So we did come into the marriage with a lot of baggage, but at the same time, at a really good place, and really our hearts were for God. So it was an amazing thing. God was turning things around, but at the same time, even our expectations, we were ignorant to, things that in the past, decisions that you make, bringing into that into a marriage, you're bound to have to deal with them, face even more. And the first year of marriage is always the hardest.
I think it's important for us to even talk about where we're at right now.
Yeah.
It's been 2.5 years, like Charlotte said, and we're still going through it. It's when we got married, I was very much in the transition in my life, literally losing everything and pretty much getting married with no money.
We didn't even know we were living.
Yeah, we didn't know we were living.
Up until that month.
And
now we're in the same...
now we're in the same position, so...
Okay, I'm about to have a baby in next month.
Yeah.
Well, a month and a half, basically. A month and a half, we're about to have our first baby, which we're so excited about. Sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead. No, I mean, that's a good point. So...
And now we're back in the same situation, trying to figure out where the heck we're living.
Yeah.
And we're waiting on answers from God. But the thing about it is, I don't know, I just have a lot of peace. And I think that's the main thing I want to get at, is that a Christ-centered relationship for both parties together as a unit is going to make all the difference in everything. Couples who believe in God or call themselves Christians, go to church, but aren't really keeping Christ the center of their life and in every decision and together in unity. And the second one would be one of you is fully on fire for God, or a believer, and the other one may believe that there is a God but not in the same, unequally yoked, or just not a believer at all. And then the third is a Christ-centered relationship, which God has intended for that, and the goal is marriage. A lot of people too date just because they're trying to have a companion, or they go into relationships just based off feelings or emotions or in the need now. But I feel like having marriage be your ultimate goal and the other person have that same thing in mind is so important. I feel like we've been through maybe all three stages.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So we can definitely relate to anyone in that situation where one of us was more on fire, or maybe we both were not really close at all at one point. And then there was times where we would go to church. We have the same moral values, but not keeping Christ the center. And I feel like we still now have so many things that we need to work on, so many things that I think we can do better as far as keeping Christ the center of it, because it's so easy to get distracted by life's struggles or whatever's going on, and make decisions based off our emotion, because we are, like you said, we're human.
Yeah.
So we have a tendency to just do things on our emotion or how we think it's right, but really every decision you make should be something you pray over. You really, really make that with wisdom, because we have failed so many times with making decisions on our own, and that's what happens. Like I was saying, we had baggage, we have all these different things and tests that have brought us to this point, but ultimately that's what our goal is, to just make decisions based on what God wants, a Christ-centered relationship, and that is the most fulfilling and peaceful
gift. It's also, what is the main reason why anyone is in a relationship? I mean, especially if you want to get married, because a lot of people are not actually getting married anymore.
Yeah.
And so you got to understand what's happening in society and culturally is, there's no need to get married, because you could just be with your partner, have sex outside of marriage. And so that's why we're talking about a Christian marriage, because what's separating that, what actually is giving that fulfillment, because everyone is different. And so for a Christian marriage, our goal is to have intimacy. Our goal is to be able to have a partner that can help us fulfill our purpose in God. And then we rely on God for strength and for supernatural favor to get us through the times where, as humans, we're not able to provide our own discipline or strength.
With what we're going through, we could be I could be losing my mind right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of stress right now.
Well, there is. I have my days. For sure.
So we have a baby coming in a month and a half, and we're still trying to figure out where exactly we're going to be living. I'm trying to figure out financial situations with income and just different jobs as an entrepreneur and the things that I do. And it's extremely, extremely stressful. And so what could happen if I wasn't really more focused on God and trying to rely on Him to open up doors and close doors of opportunity, I would most likely be giving Charlotte a lot of negative energy. Now, I'm not saying that we don't get into arguments, and I'm not saying that I don't say stupid things and that she doesn't say stupid things to me. But insecurities that we deal with as men, and because I start my day off and I'm purposely trying to discipline myself to have a personal relationship with God, I'm able to go to Him before I make any impulsive or rash decisions or lash out on Charlotte because I'm having a bad day. And I've had a very tough 2.5 years.
Hold on. We ran out of space. Sorry. So Danny was just saying that
we have to be very, very mindful as a Christian man that ultimately any frustration, any iniquity, any type of shortfall or failure, you got to give to God. And you also don't let the devil come in and try to steal, kill, and destroy your peace and joy that you have with your family. I think that's one of the most amazing things that I have. We don't make a lot of money, but we have incredible peace and joy. And now opportunities are coming doors are opening. We've been
right there.
Yeah, literally right here.
But we still have so many unknowns.
We still have so many unknowns, you know, and so that's just the way life is. But it's a beautiful thing when you have Jesus to fall back on. And that's why we're talking about a Christian marriage, what the truths about a Christian marriage, because we're still dealing with the same stuff.
Yeah.
It's incredibly difficult. But the purpose and the goal is to have peace, love, and joy, and happiness. And how do you really get to those things?
Well, ultimately, the goal is to fulfill your purpose and be a light and salt to the earth.
Yeah.
And marriage is like the best way of doing that, I feel like. And then for me, if you've been following, then you know, like, I've been kind of convicted with just this, like, God's telling me to be new wineskin so that he can prepare me for the new wine so I can be stretched. If I'm not a new wineskin, I'm just susceptible to just bursting because I'm not moldable, I'm not flexible, I'm not preparing myself for God's newness. Oftentimes the trials and these things are what makes you stronger. So it's like I just keep saying to myself to be thankful, to pray and thank God every day no matter what, and just put your faith, you know, he wants us to be strong in our faith.
The type of music you listen to, the type of things you watch, all these things can influence an impulse, a decision.
That is such a huge thing.
It can influence an addiction. It can influence a weakness that the devil knows, you know, could be underlying. And if you're doing really good and all of a sudden like this thought pops out of your head, or just something, it could be if you're drinking, or if you're dealing with, you know, have an issue with drugs, or if you have an issue with women, you know, pornography, whatever it could be, that the enemy is constantly lurking, trying to get you to dive into these temptations. And if you don't have some type of supernatural strength, and you're not really going to be able to handle it on your own, that's why so many relationships fail.
Yeah, so it shut off because now it was overheating. So anyway, I don't know what you were talking about, but you did mention about being careful about what you're listening to and all that stuff, because
it can affect your mind, and your heart.
I talk about that on my channel. I like just feel like that's why I'm so like crazy about that. I feel like I'm always like, well, no, babe, can't watch it, because he wants to watch like.
I want to watch Us. She doesn't want to watch it.
Oh my gosh, stupid scary movie. He wants to watch all these like crazy stuff. Billions is a good show. It's pretty good. Music all has such a strong power and influence, and it's hard because there's so many distractions, so many things. But ultimately, like what I want in my house is to be things that are full of peace, that bring positivity, not anything that is a foothold for Satan.